From WLWT, this is Let's Talk Cincy.
Hello everyone, I'm Curtis Fuller and welcome to Let's Talk Cincy.
And I'm Alexis Rogers, and today we're in for a very big treat. We have Hall of Famer and honestly Cincinnati favorite Anthony Munoz. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
It is hard not to start by talking football with literally one of the greatest football players ever. That's not something that we just say casually. You were recently named one of the top 100 football players to ever play the game. Wow. Humbling, huh?
It's very humbling. I hear that, and I still pinch myself because, you know, I talk a lot about the journey, and of course we talked a little bit before we went on air. A lot of people didn't give me a chance after playing one game my senior year in college, missing 3 seasons because of injury. But I'm thankful the Brown family, Paul Brown, took a chance and drafted me. Not only drafted me, but with the 3rd pick in the draft. So every time I look back to the 13 years I played and was there mostly every Sunday, missed very few games, and then to receive these accolades, of course, the first thing I think about are the great guys I played with, you know, Max Montoya and Dave Lapham and Joe Walter, Bruce Kozerski and on Boomer and Kenny and all those guys and Ickey and JB. So I think that, but then I think, man, you know, this is the 100th anniversary, and I'm looking around and I'm looking at guys, you know, Forrest Gregg and Rosie Brown and Art Shell and Jonathan, the tackles, just the tackles alone, not to mention the other guys. And it is very humbling. It's exciting, and I'm very thankful.
It's amazing to me the relationships that you've been able to foster, not only with folks, you know, Bengals alumni, but honestly throughout the NFL. I mean, people have a really high affinity for you because of your character and the game. Talk to us a little bit about why that was important to you.
Well, it was very important to me. You know, growing up the way I did, single parent, my mom raised 5 of us, work ethic, responsibility, and then, of course, through high school and college, I had some great coaches, great teachers that taught me some valuable lessons. And then in the NFL, you know, playing for Forrest Gregg and, you know, Paul Brown, and then playing with guys like Boomer Esiason and Max Montoya, you know, always wanting to do things the right way. You know, always wanting to be successful, always wanting to be the best, striving to be the best. That's how it's taught. Regardless of what you have or don't have, work at it with all your heart, man, and just give it everything, but do it the right way. And that's really, you know, what people taught me in the way I wanted to do. I wanted to honor the name Munoz, my mom and family, and, you know, thank the Browns for drafting me. And then, of course, with my wife, Dee Dee, and kids, and now grandkids, you want to be that example. And perfect, no, none of us are perfect. None of us are above making mistakes. But really, you know, leaving a legacy that says, you know, God-fearing, hardworking, and, you know, hopefully being an example to those around you and how to do things.
I know you're asked all the time about the current state of football and especially your Bengals. Right. Give us some assessment of this team because they have a lot of raw talent, but obviously this year it didn't play out. Talk a little bit about the Bengals.
Yeah, you know, and I don't hesitate to talk about the state of the game, which you mentioned first. I think still, to me, in my humble opinion, the greatest team sport on earth. I mean, when you look at the diversity of individuals that are trying to accomplish one thing, that's win games. And you can have a 6'6", 330-pounder and a 5'8", 180-pounder on the same field trying to accomplish the same thing. You can have a guy from East LA and you can have a guy from Humboldt, Iowa, lining up next to each other, and again, working for the same thing. And but you know, the present state of the Bengals is frustrating because I do see some talent. I see, you know, when you have guys like Geno Atkins and Joe Mixon, and you go right down the line, and you know, I have an opportunity to do the preseason games, and you don't see the starters a lot, but you get to see the chemistry, how they interact with each other, how they interact with coaches, and that's what I look at more now. And I saw some good things, and especially after that opening game in Seattle. One of the toughest places to play, Seattle. I've played there a couple times. And then you couple that with the pretty good Seattle Seahawks team, and they lose the game, our Bengals lose the game, but man, they played well. They played physical. They were flying all over the field. And then to come home and then to start playing the way they did, I was down for that 49ers game, and just the totally opposite of what I saw out in Seattle. And they do have some talent. And you look at most of the games they've lost, there's been, you know, 2 or 3, I think, that have been blowouts, but most of them have been very close. I mean, they've had their opportunities without making some mistakes to stay close or even win the football game. So, you know, I like the new head coach, Zach Taylor. I've been around him. He's a young guy. I mean, he's younger than my kids. So, but, you know, as a former player, as you know, we have a lot of former players here that we're very close, and we're all fans. We all root for the team. We want the best for the team because we saw the city at the height of our success with 2 Super Bowls, 2 AFC championship games that were played here. So not only do we want the players, the coaches, and the organization to be successful, but we want this city to experience that again. So we're rooting for them. Again, we have some holes to fill. I mean, it doesn't help when you lose probably your best player on the team, and he doesn't even start the season. He's not played, A.J. Green. I mean, the guy is phenomenal, and I hated to see that. Then you draft your #1 pick, who I didn't watch a whole lot, but I listened to the experts, and one of the experts is a former teammate of mine, Dave Lapham, who does radio. This kid is supposed to be the real thing, and they had him inserted at the starting left tackle. Then he gets hurt, so he's out all season. So that really starts that whole downfall of the offensive line. So sure, we need a lot of work. We have to repair some spots, but I think even with the record we have, I don't believe we're that far off.
Alexis talked about character building. We should talk to him a little bit about that, your scholarship program and your foundation. Why don't we talk to you a little bit more about that when we return?
Hi there, and welcome back to Let's Talk Cincy. We're having an awesome conversation with none other than Anthony Munoz about so many things. We talked football, but let's talk a little bit more about philanthropy because we see you everywhere. I think the last time I saw Anthony, we were at Crossroads Church, and you were helping young leaders understand how to be young leaders. And this is important to you. You know, why do you necessarily target younger kids? Because, I mean, you have a big focus on younger kids and building them up young.
Right, and you know, a lot of it, I shared a lot about my background and those mentors and those coaches and teachers that really poured into my life. And it taught me that, you know, we need to be those resources for young people. So, you know, we're going in our 19th year with the foundation, and we have that leadership seminar that we had about 80 high schools there. And just try to give them some, you know, some life nuggets, some things that are going to help them, not only in the community, but in their homes and in their schools. And so, you know, I've established, we have a great team. Again, I tell people I went from playing on a team to now a bigger and better team with the City of Cincinnati, our foundation, volunteers, corporate partners. So we really, you know, we start with young kids. We mentor elementary kids because we want them to really establish that foundation. We have character camps for middle school kids that we take away and pour into them. We'll teach them a little football. Now, we're not going to completely get away from football.
Right.
People think because I played the game that it's 100% football, but it's not. We teach them football. We teach them character. We teach them team building, how to work together. And then, you know, we have the leadership seminar where we bring in motivational leadership speakers, you know, young people, older, that have been successful, that have gone through some adversity, but have stuck to it and made it. To give these young people that, you know, I tell them it's not a matter if, but when you go through adversity, how are you going to come out the other end? And so, you know, then we have a scholarship program that we give a bunch of scholarships for seniors going to college. So we try to keep that continuity of, you know, elementary all the way through high school. And then we tell them, we have a very lean staff, but we tell them once you receive something from the foundation or you're involved in a program, you're now part of the Munoz family. So we'll continue to follow you and stay connected. But that's why I do it. And again, we can't do what we do. I can't do what I do without my staff, interns, board members, corporate partners, and volunteers. So it is all about team.
Yeah. When they hear your journey, I would imagine that their eyes light up because, you know, they hear the story of you being on the football field and they think it's all glamour. Right. But when they start to hear about growing up in California, single parent, that's a reality check.
You know what? I feel very blessed at my age as an old guy that has been out of the league for so long. Been out of the league for so long, and I'm talking to these young people, and quite frankly, they have to be educated on what I did, you know, 25, 30 years ago. But as soon as I share my journey, my story, it's that instant connection. It's like, yeah, he played in the NFL for 13 years. He did this, that. But he can relate to what we're going through because, you know, his mom raised 5 kids by herself, working 2 or 3 jobs. He never knew his dad. His dad was in and out of prison. My dad was in and out of prison. I never met my dad. He's passed away. So all of a sudden they're looking and say, yeah, maybe this body of work in the NFL is nice, but let's listen to the journey and how he came out of that and was able to do something. So yeah, I get some, I think there's some instant credibility there with the young people. And of course, you know, and we say it all the time because not only do we do it here, but we're across the country and in Mexico doing character initiatives. But we say, you know, young people don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Oh, wow.
So you grab a kid's heart and then you get their mind and their body. And I think with what we do, you got to be, you know, they're the greatest lie detector. I mean, we say that. They can see right through you. So you be transparent, you be vulnerable, and then you get them, and then therefore you can kind of, you know, work with them, you know, throughout their childhood and through high school, and then maintain those relationships. That's the great thing about our foundation. We have individuals that have been scholarship recipients in California running multi-million-dollar companies. We have a young lady that's finishing up her medical school at Harvard from Hamilton, Ohio, and they come back, they do videos and encourage us to continue to do what we're doing because we've been a small part of what they're able to do as college and now business citizens in the country and here locally.
You have always talked about your faith.
Mm-hmm.
We want to talk a little bit about that when we come back,
Okay.
and that and family, the Hall of Famer, when we return.
Hi there, and welcome back to Let's Talk Cincy. We are having a real conversation.
Yeah.
And Let's Talk Cincy, we like to say we talk about real life, real people, real conversations. And so joining us now is Anthony Munoz. And Anthony, we were talking a little bit about faith because that is a very big part of who you are and a lot of the things that you do. In a city like Cincinnati, how have you seen that really impact people?
Yeah. Well, you know, I love talking faith because that to me is the foundation of who I am. That is my motivation, that's my purpose, that's my passion. And you know, it's interesting because you know, I always talk about Dee Dee, my wife. She's my best friend, and we've been married. We'll be 42 years married in April this coming 2020. And it's pretty cool because in 1978, as a sophomore at USC, so that was when we got married. So in April of that year, we got married, and then several months later, in October of 1978, that's when I came to faith. That's when I realized at 6'6", 300 pounds, this rough and tough, you know, football player at the University of Southern California, that I needed Jesus, man. I just, you know, people, family members, teammates sharing their faith with me, and just kind of sharing and being real. And then it really sparked. I can see why God sparked that curiosity in my life, and I started checking it out, and I realized that I needed faith in my life. So it's, you know, we're going on 42 years of marriage and 42 years of faith, and so it's a great thing, and that's what I really, like I said, that's the foundation, and that's what I do. You know, when I was playing in the NFL, that motivated me to be the best. I mean, people are like, well, you're playing on Sunday. I mean, should you be playing on Sunday? I said, well, God gave me the gift to play football.
Come on,
and
that's good.
Working on Sunday. You know, he tells you to do everything with all your heart is working for him and not me. So I'm going to go out, and the game is meant to be played physical within the rules. So I'm going out every play and trying to thank him for the gifts that he's given me. So yeah, if it means playing on Sunday or Saturday or Thursday night or Monday night, I'm going to do it, you know, because to me, every day is a worship day. And that's what I learned, that, you know, worship is just not about going to church and singing a few songs, but worship is lifestyle. So my way of worshiping God when I was playing football is to be the best NFL football player that I possibly could be for his glory. And I work on that as a husband, as a community member, as a philanthropist, and now as a grandfather. And knowing that I'm not perfect, but I'm striving. As Vince Lombardi said, perfection is unattainable. But if you chase perfection, you're going to catch excellence. So, you know, that's a great quote to live by. And so, yeah, you know, my faith in Christ and really being plugged into a church and really having that be the biggest part of my life and our marriage and our family, and then everything else is just like icing on the cake.
Yeah, we wanted to hear that because people tend to put people in a one-dimensional state, and now that you have grandkids calling you Poppy, they could probably care less about all of the numbers and fancy accolades that you receive. Yeah. And so talk about the kids and grandkids, because that's good.
Well, it's a great stage of life. We have 9 grandkids, and the kids are good. You know, Michael, Michelle, they're great. You know, as long as they come over and they bring the grandkids, we joke about that. But yeah, Michelle has four kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. Michael has 5 kids, 3 boys and 2 girls. And you know, it's been so much fun. We now have very comfortable chairs that, you know, if we go to a lacrosse game, a soccer game, flag football game, a tackle football game, and now we go basketball, they have the bleachers, so we have the seats in there. but it's a great stage of life that, you know, we have a deal in our kitchen, and it has a picture of each one of them. It says blessings. It says 9 blessings that call us Poppy and Mimi. So it's, yeah, so we're very thankful, you know, with our kids and spouses, Luke Trends and Emily Jones, and so it's one of those things where it's a fun time right now with these kids, and you know, being able to just sit back and spoil them and not have to make because one of the first things I was asked, are you going to let your grandsons play tackle football? And I said, you know what, if they play tackle football, I'll be there rooting mom, but they have a mom and dad, so I think that's their decision to be made. And, you know, 2 of them played tackle football for the first time this year, and they loved it, and we were there watching them just like we've watched all the other grandkids play their sports, or if it's a musical at school, we'll be there to support them. But, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and you know, it's one of those things where we say, okay, let's just relax now. We can't buy the whole toy store. We can just give them 1 or 2 gifts.
Get the one good one.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my grandma's rule. The one good one, okay?
But it's a great stage of life right now.
Absolutely.
What I think is awesome about someone like yourself, who you've lived a lot of life and you're living a lot of life right now, if you could talk to yourself 30 years ago, 35 years ago, what would you tell yourself? What life lesson would you tell yourself about what to take from all of these experiences?
That's a great question. And, you know, I've been asked that before, and I've heard that asked. You know what? It's one of those things where probably just maybe capture it a lot better. I know technology is better now, and, you know, things are captured, you know, with technology. I wish we had that to capture those things, you know, 25, 30 years ago. That's probably the one thing I would you know, say to myself, instead of going to something and just capturing it in here, because now that I'm getting older, you know, I still have a lot of that, but it's like, okay, was that that year or that year? But that's what I'd probably say, is that one thing that we've really been able to do through the foundation, being involved with the Hall of Fame, a lot of programs, is really capturing a lot of what the guys are talking about, and, you know, different outreaches that we have. So that's probably the one thing that I wish I would have archives and stuff of back when I was a lot younger.
Watch this. Now people are going to be gifting him with all the archives. And you're gonna be like, look,
there's plenty out there, and I'm like, no, that wasn't me.
There's a saying, if you knew you were going through the good old days while you were going through them, you'd probably appreciate them more. All right, we were talking before we started about another part of your world that people see you on TV all the time with this guy who's about half your size, and you said you've been doing this for close to 25 years, right?
Yeah, so let's kind of, I'll give you a kind of a thumbnail sketch of what happened. So 1992, I retired, and it was one of those things where I'm usually pretty good returning calls, getting back on that. And there was this agency that kept calling me about, there's a furniture company that's interested in doing something. And I'm like, okay, I just retired. I was really bad. I wasn't getting back. And I let it kind of drag on. So, I mean, a few messages. And all of a sudden, I got a phone call from an individual. And he says, Anthony, would you like to have lunch? I have a proposal. And I said yes right away. And then I realized this individual is representing the same furniture company that this agency was, and it was Ed Hartman. So I agreed to have, you know, a lunch with Ed Hartman, and here we are. I mean, that was, so it's 27, I think going on 28 years now that Ed and I have been doing the commercials for Furniture Fair. And I tell you, we've had a blast. You know, early on I had to say, okay, Ed, you're the funny guy, you're the costume guy. I don't really look good in wigs and stuff, so I'll be the serious guy. But yeah.
Did you know?
Exactly. It's been a great relationship. You know, of course, people think that Ed owns it or we own it, but it's family owned. The Daniels family. You know, it's been cool. You know, the parents started in I think it was 62, 63. You know, when I first started there, Rick Daniels, the brother, was kind of heading up. Now it's Bill Daniels, and you have Steve Daniels, and you have Jenny, who kind of the whole family is running things. So it's been fun to be part of that, not only in Cincinnati, but now in Dayton and Beaver Creek and Louisville, and, you know, so it's they're growing, and it's great to be part of that team. And so I'm thankful. It's been fun. You know, I don't mind, you know, being referred to as a furniture guy now when I'm seen out in public. Of course, you know, high school students say, hey, there's that furniture guy. Or young people come up and say, Mom, Dad, there's the furniture guy. And then the parents will say, well, you know, he played with the Bengals. And they'll go, really? But it's been a great relationship. And the fun thing, and we talked about philanthropy and giving back, the fun thing for me is being involved with the company for as long as I've been with Furniture Fair, and to see how much they give back to the community and their heart to give back also.
What I think is also awesome just about you is that you've seen Cincinnati in so many different phases of the city. I mean, you've seen it at its high. I mean, you have touted the great parts of it. You've seen it as it transitioned. And now you see it in this like rebirth. What would you say is the best thing that has changed about Cincinnati over the years as your relationship with the city has grown?
Well, I think to see downtown, to see the river, you know, the banks, and to, you know, it's still a little sad to not see the old office there, and I refer to Riverfront Stadium as the old office, but it's good to see Paul Brown Stadium and Great American, and to see all the development between, and to see, at one point, we had an office down at OTR right across catty corner from Washington Park, and to see that start to kind of grow, you know, all the retail and residential and the restaurants, and you know, so it's, and I know we're not where we need to be, but to see that, to me, coming from the West Coast and then kind of seeing, you know, 2nd Street with the produce and the old stadium, and then to see that gone, and then to see it, you know, revitalized and see what's going on there. That's been the fun thing, to see the growth, and hopefully it will continue to move in the right direction. But that's what's been fun for me to see.
And it's always good seeing you. We said it before that you're all over the place, but I hope you know how much this town appreciates you. I was thinking how, you know, athletes come and go, but your name is synonymous with the city and, of course, the Bengals. And I know people love you, and thank you for sharing you with Cincinnati on Let's Talk Cincy, because we wanted people to hear from you, not just the football player.
Well, I appreciate that, and you're welcome with that, and thank you for those kind words, and that's the great thing. I mean, I tell people, and you know, I go back, I still visit family in Southern California, still have a lot of family, do events there, and I'll get a former, you know, high school buddy or a relative, and they'll come put their arm around me when I'm doing an event, and they'll say, so you're ready to move back, right? And I'm saying, no, we'll keep visiting, but the embracement that we've, and I tell people, and they say, why did you stay in Cincinnati? So the first thing I say is because of the people. I had a job offer 6 days after my last game at Riverfront Stadium to go back to LA, not to just go back to LA, but to be the line coach at the University of Southern California. And I've done that with young people over the years, but that was 2 days that I agonized, but don't regret turning it down and staying here.
I'm glad you turned it down.
Well, thank you.
Always good to see you.
Great seeing you.
The Hall of Famer, Anthony Munoz. We'll be back in a moment. What a great way to start 2020.
Man, a great way to start 2020.
Not enough time, though. That's all the time we have for you. Thanks for watching.
And of course, we want to hear from you. Go ahead and email us all of your thoughts, ideas, questions at ltc@wlwt.com. We look forward to seeing you next time. Be encouraged.